What's up, everybody? Once again, it is I, James, coming to you from the Nerdy Mewzings podcast studio. I am very excited to be joined today by Kate Windels. How you doing today, Kate?
Can't complain yet.
Well, that's good. I'll try to keep it that way. I'll try to
We'll
give you
see.
nothing to
We'll
complain
see.
about on the pod.
Sounds like a good
Well,
plan.
we're coming pretty fresh off a meeting in person at Emerald City Comic Con.
Yeah,
Yeah, how was the con for you?
it was good. It was better than I thought it would be because I thought I got a
Okay.
really shitty spot because I was by the bathrooms, but that's actually a really good spot because you're by the
Primo.
bathrooms because everyone needs to go
Yes.
to the bathroom.
Yeah, perfect. You catch them on their way in and out. Good to
Exactly.
go.
Exactly. Just ignore the smell.
Right. Now, were you planning to be at ECC? Because I know DJ and the VeeFriends crew ended up there at the last moment. Were you already set to appear prior to all that coming together?
I was already set, and they kind of only came because I was also there. Because I think me being there just kind of planted the seed. And it was like when I told the crew, like, oh yeah, I'll be at Emerald City, so I won't be available these days. Like, DJ's like, well, I think we could do that. That could be cool because, like, I'd like some of their comics to sell at my table.
Yeah.
And, like, everything in corporate on like how our company's handled, you don't know until like 3 days before that something's gonna happen.
Yes.
So DJ had to deal with that. And I was like, well, I'm an artist alley, so you guys just we'll get dinner some night.
That's so cool it worked out the way it did, though.
Yeah, yeah, it was
Like,
good. It was a really good show. We had a lot of table sharers.
nice. And it's funny because I was actually recording with him when he got the confirmation that they were able to go. And
Not
he's like,
even
as soon as I stop recording with you, I got to jump off here and hopefully be able to get plane tickets and everything. And I want to say that was literally like less than a week prior.
that is DJ's life at V.
Does that sound about right?
Yeah, it's like it's not on purpose, of course. It's just like, oh, we need to like call all the right people and all the right people don't get back to you until like
Yeah.
24 hours before.
To give the go ahead and then everybody
Yeah.
else has to scramble, right?
Yeah, but I went to just do my own thing, have a comics identity outside of VeeFriends and promote my
That's
own
awesome.
stuff. But yeah, it was
Yeah,
good.
you have a lot of stuff coming out that
I
is
do.
really cool. I
I
just
hope
saw
so.
the announcement about Devil in the Herd being Invader Comics' best-selling book to
I
date, it
just
sounds like.
Yep, we just found out like an hour ago as of recording this, so
Wow,
I had my moment already and
that's
I got all
amazing.
cleaned up and I came here.
You definitely
Stuff.
didn't cry, right?
No, not at all. Not even a little bit. Sure.
That's so cool. Now,
Yeah.
I'm going to end up getting way ahead of myself if I'm not careful. So let's take it back to your early beginnings in art.
Mhm.
Is art something that you've always been drawn to?
Ah, good punch. Accidental.
I'm glad you.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't accidental.
Yeah, it always was. I was always the little kid that drew. I always had pencil and paper. Like even in kindergarten, there was apparently I always think about this when this question comes up. I was painting a plant I saw in the window of our kindergarten classroom, and my kindergarten teacher apparently approached my mom was like, "Kids her age like don't do this. They don't draw from reference.
Yeah,
Really encourage this." And she did, and
yeah.
now we're here. So,
Now we're here. Fast forward and
yeah, I didn't
record
decide.
breaking comic sales.
Now we're doing it. So I better message
Yeah.
my kindergarten teacher. I didn't decide on comics until I was like age 10 or 11-ish. That's about like the age when kids start having the connections of like, oh, this comic book or this thing I'm looking at, someone
Yeah.
drew this. That's someone's job.
Right.
So I found out about Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko. from
Oh,
the
wow.
Spider-Man movie special features on DVD because I
Oh,
grew up
that's
in a
so
very
cool.
yeah, I grew up in a really rural town, so we had no comic books, we had no comic shop. I'd never held a comic book before, and then I decided I want to be a comic book artist because I watched the special
Wow.
features of Spider-Man.
Well, that's
So,
really cool that it was Jack and Steve because,
yeah.
people of your generation, they don't usually discover the OGs like that until way
They
later in the
don't know.
game.
And I was already like a big fan of like Marvel and DC and all that. It was just in TV shows for me because that's what I
Right.
had access to. So like I
Yeah.
got the TV shows and then I found out about comics later.
Now, did you ever find your way to accumulating and acquiring comics? I mean, you said it wasn't really available to you at that time. Were you able to seek some out?
Very slowly but surely. The first comic books I ever read were actually hardback, like single issues from my elementary library. So they
Oh,
had
there you
all the
go.
collections of the 90s Spider-Girl and a bunch of Power Pack
Oh, yeah.
comics, and I just reread those over and over again and didn't get all my reading points because I kept reading elementary level books.
Yeah.
So those were like
Well,
my first comic books, but like whenever, since we were rural, we'd have to like go to the bigger city to get things
hmm.
sometimes. I would always ask to go to the comic shop, and that's when I would slowly start collecting mine. My very first comic book that was mine, that was purchased for me, was Spider-Man One More Day. Was my very
Oh, there you
first
go.
comic I owned. Very infamous, but like, hey, good
Yeah.
origin story for me, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Well, that's so cool. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people realize like that comics aren't easily accessible for everyone, or at least especially at that time,
Yeah.
because it was before you could just, get on your Kindle or get on
Mhm.
Marvel's subscription and get digital comics and all of that. So
Yeah, I think there was a
now,
few times I put a virus on our computer because I was trying to read them illegally.
yep, yep.
It's fine, I don't do that
Was this
anymore.
was this back in like the LimeWire days, like
Oh yeah.
downloading torrents? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think we all were fell victim to that from time to time, trying to get
Eventually.
our fix. Yeah. So, did you seek out formal art training in this process of working your way towards getting into drawing comics?
Yeah, so I have a very different story from a lot of regular comic artists. I actually have a bachelor's degree in comic art, which is like
Oh, nice.
not a common thing, but the private art school in my state, MCAD, the Minneapolis College of Art and Design, has a comic art program, which I found out because we did a tour there with my sister who wanted to go for painting, and she's a phenomenal
Mm,
painter. Me and all my sisters are artists, so, and that's how I
nice.
found out about it there when I was like 13 or 12. So they were just going through their programs, and I just had to sit there and be like, man, I don't want to be here. We better go to the comic book store after this. So, and then they said they do comic art. My sister looked at me and she's like, that's you. You.
Yeah.
So that
Oh,
was,
you got a kitty. Sorry, I'm easily distracted.
oh
Kitty
yeah,
cat in the
that's
background.
Coco. I'm surprised she hasn't gotten on the desk yet. There's two of them.
Well,
We'll see if the other
there's
one.
hope. There's hope.
We'll
Sorry, I'm
see.
easily distracted by cats.
That's not a bad thing, I don't think.
Right? I don't
But
think. You only have the two?
I only have the two, which is plenty for me. So
Two is the starter kit. Be careful.
I'll do my
Two
best.
is
We
the
have an.
gateway
How
to
many do
six.
you have? Sick.
Six.
Jay, how
Six is
much
the most we've
hair is
ever
on your
had, to be fair.
furniture?
A lot. You can imagine. All right, all right. Sorry. Distracted by the cat.
Yeah,
So,
get out of here. Go.
no, no, no. Come on to the desk. So
Joke.
you discovered that they had this actual comic art program at the college
Hmm.
that your sister was looking at. So you ended up really lucking out because like
Yeah.
I'm gonna give away my age. Back in my day, there was only the Joe Kubert school, and that was it. Like as far as getting an actual degree in comic book art, and I actually back then I don't even think it was like accredited or anything. So
Not
you
even
you kind
surprised.
of
Yeah,
yeah, you kind of stumbled into this. So
I did.
what was what was that like? Like, do you feel like you came out of there with a lot of the tools that you needed to get into the industry?
I do. And like, I didn't realize that until much later. Cause I mean, anyone who's been to college that doesn't get a job right away after college is like, so I just wasted my money. And what did I actually learn?
Yeah.
But it gave me a lot of tools and extra time to practice that people of my age didn't have. All of my teachers were industry professionals. I understood how the industry worked. Really, the main thing they tell you is like, you got to meet your deadlines. That's really high.
Yes.
And a lot of kids couldn't do that.
Yeah.
But it gave me so many tools that so many other people don't have, which I'm very grateful for. And I'm grateful that I got to do it. I don't think you need art school at all to be able to do this, but I'm very
Yeah.
happy that I did because I'm not very personally motivated.
Well, especially nowadays with YouTube University, as a lot of
Hmm.
people call it. I mean, we got David
Yeah,
Finch on there, we got Proco, we got all these resources
exactly.
now. But
Exactly.
a part of me thinks that actually, like, having to do it as part of college and be regimented and complete assignments and stuff, like, depending on your personality, like, YouTube University can be hard because you can
Mm.
get distracted a million different places and never really focus on one area. So I think
Yeah,
going to college for me, I think for the way my brain works, that would be beneficial because I need like a deadline, an assignment. Here's what you need to work on.
exactly. I need to be told what to do. And it like helps a lot because in college they'll of course assign you things that you don't necessarily want to do. But that's like how it
Yeah.
is in comics and the art industry as well. It's like, well, you're going to be like drafted to draw things that you never necessarily thought you would, but you're going to have to find a way to make it your own and make it fun.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
had classes for like technique and storytelling and character design. And you'd also have to do fundamentals, which I really didn't want to do, but you're fine.
Such is the way for most of us aspiring creators.
Most
All the
people.
all the building blocks that you later realize, oh, maybe I shouldn't have skipped that part. That's why this
Yeah.
drawing looks wonky.
It's true in any industry. It's like, well, if you don't start at the basic fundamentals of anything, you're gonna
Yes.
suck later.
Yeah, it's really hard too because when you're into drawing, it's so tempting to jump right to that cool finished, quote unquote finished piece, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And then when you
A big question I get asked a lot from fans is how do you find your style? And it's like you shouldn't really be thinking about your style when you first start out. Like you just find it eventually. Like
yeah.
I don't think I personally have a style because no artist thinks they do, even though I clearly do. You're just an amalgamation of
Mhm.
everything you've learned and everything you like.
Yeah. Well,
So,
and a style is influenced a lot by the people that we're inspired by and look at, even if we don't realize it, it can creep into our own work. So for you, who were some of your comic art inspirations?
the biggest one is definitely Mike Mignola, the creator of
He
Hellboy.
comes he comes
So
up on here a lot.
he's my first comic like I read where I was like, oh, this is how I want my things to be and look.
Yeah.
So I've got like a whole bookshelf of Hellboy. I've got a bunch of Hellboy stuff over here you can't see. I've got a Hellboy print right there and right there. So
Awesome.
he's my guy. And it's just, it comes up like all the time whenever I post any art. People are like, oh, your style reminds me of Mike Mignola. And I'm like,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
So,
It's how you spot your blacks in there.
I like
It,
heavy shadows and
yeah.
they make drawing easier. You could just make the whole thing black.
Yeah. Yeah. The old quote, if in doubt, black it out.
Exactly,
But
exactly.
but there is a lot of technique to it because
There
it
is.
has to be in the right spots and it has
Yeah.
to indicate form, which again comes back to our fundamentals. If you're
Yes.
just putting a shadow where it doesn't belong, it's
Hmm.
going to flatten it out and make it look weird. And
Hmm.
you might not be able to figure out why it looks weird. And then everybody's going to tell you, go back to drawing your,
Yeah.
shade your spheres and your cubes.
Basically, go look at Toth, go look at Eisner, go look at
Yeah.
Kirby. They all had it figured out. If you want to draw good, draw like them. And then you'll draw like
Yes.
you once you try to draw like them.
Now you mentioned, stumbling onto Kirby and Ditko through the special features on that Spider-Man DVD.
Yeah.
Did you delve into more Kirby stuff later on when you did, gain more access to comics?
Not as much as I should have. Like, I still haven't read, like, the New Gods. I know that's terrible of me to say. But as much as I could find, I did. We did a lot of Kirby referencing in college. Like, my teacher would print out, like, a blue penciling of a Kirby thing, and
Hmm.
we would have to figure out how to ink it. So I got more
Inking
familiar.
Kirby, that's
We
a
would ink
high,
Kirby.
that's a big challenge. Yeah.
I know. That was a big exercise we did. Yeah, because Kirby's pencils are so messy.
Oh yeah.
They're,
Very. I have a couple of the pencil editions over here, and you look at that, I'm like, no
ow.
wonder, no wonder he only had, like one or two people who he liked how
Yeah,
they inked his stuff.
yeah. Oh, no wonder he did 4 pages in a day.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the
Insane.
storytelling was there, so he is the king. I can't deny
He
that.
is.
But it was, I didn't familiarize myself as quickly as I wanted to because I was like all moody and didn't want to read different stories other than like
Right.
Hellboy and select superheroes because I was all like, oh, I just want to read like Hellboy and Wolverine. And I was very
Yeah.
like character based before I wanted to expand my horizons, which college also helped with because I got assigned books I wouldn't necessarily read until later.
Yeah. It's funny when you mention Wolverine, I couldn't help but picture your pose, your reference photo. It was so
Yeah,
good.
oh, I have a lot of those.
Yeah.
So
I
my
love
friend
the,
screenshotted that and he sends it as a meme to me now and I'm
does
like,
he?
I should have never done that.
Well, I love that you show, that part of your process because I think people have, an aspiring artist can have a wrong impression about what reference is and how it should be used. Like, if there's a pose you're struggling with, like, reference can be invaluable in helping you
Hmm.
figure it out. Because sometimes how things look in our brain, like, we can try to extrapolate and see what forms overlap and everything, but when you actually see it in real life and how it translates, it's often very different than what we're picturing up here. So you've
Yeah.
been like you lean into it and you've really been showing people like, hey, here's my reference, and you even give examples from your books and everything. I think that's really cool.
I mean, like, it's a fun job, so you should have some fun with it. But I think, like, a big thing people forget is that there's so many parts to the human body, you can't possibly remember how they all move all the time. So if
Yeah.
you just move your own body in that way, if you're able, of course, like, you can learn so much about it, or maybe you find a new pose that you like even better, or you can even, I do have them at my desk. I mean, even if you just got one of these little
I
guys, it
got
can,
I got that little guy. Yep.
yeah, they're so cheap on Amazon. You
They're
have no
great.
excuse not to get them if you're trying to learn. Like, if you don't feel
Yeah.
comfortable taking pictures of yourself, there's so many avenues. There's so
Yep.
many 3D models online
That's what I was
that you,
gonna say. Yeah, there's like a bunch of free sites now where you can go and move the camera around the model and get the angle you
yeah,
need. And yeah,
exactly.
I almost think people have this misconception that using reference is like cheating somehow.
I
But it's
mean,
like if,
I used to think it was when I was little, because you don't know that like, oh yeah, artists don't
yeah.
draw everything from imagination. And it
Well, and
comes
I
out
think
more and
you,
more when you learn about like other artists' process of like you see these huge
yeah,
reference sheets for like shows like Arcane or something like that, and just see how much they bring into the world. It's a lot.
yeah. I think it's misinterpreted because people make the assumption that it's copying, but it's not. it can be used for, there are people who use reference and trace,
Yeah.
but the way you're talking about using reference is learning, how to take that pose, make it your own, and you're using it as literally the term, a reference.
Yeah.
You may change things, you may tweak the position of something, like it's not a direct copy one to one.
Exactly. Like the biggest thing I do trace my pictures very basically sometimes, like here's the head, the shoulders, the hips. And if I'm drawing a character in motion, I know what I need to do to make it look like there's more motion in that. Because you can't like be running at a camera when you take a reference
Yeah.
picture. So it's like, oh, I need to move the arms more, I need to duck the head more. Like it's I don't think there's anything wrong with like tracing your own pictures to learn from. When it gets
Yeah.
iffy is when you trace other people's art, which you should never do, and that's where the
Absolutely.
lines get blurred, I think.
Things are getting very blurry these days too. Yeah.
Eh,
Yeah, on many levels, but yeah, I think there's a lot of misconceptions there. So I think it is helpful when an artist like yourself is, out there posting about it and letting people know how you personally use it in your own art.
yeah, just be
That's,
silly. Just
just be
embarrass
silly.
yourself a little online. It's pretty fun, guys.
And then have your friends make it into memes and send it to you. Yeah,
Yeah, they do that anyway with any picture, so
there you go. All right, so going back to your early beginnings in comics, you graduate from the college. I might be skipping ahead. Did you have any published work while you were in college, or was it after you got out of college and got your degree that you started showing your portfolio around and eventually got your first break in the comic industry?
I it's hard to say what like the first break was, but I got connected with a writer in my senior year of college for the graphic novel I illustrated for Refrigerator Girl. And
Okay.
that was actually my senior project. And then it took me like 4 years to finish it because after college I actually had way, way more time to draw. And we had a pandemic and then me and my husband moved. It was a whole thing.
Just
I had more
just
time to
that
draw.
little, yeah,
Just that
just
little
that little
thing.
thing.
We don't talk about that. We don't talk about
No,
that.
I'm still
So
repressing the memories.
so after
Imagine it,
college,
not to interrupt, but imagine
yeah.
running a jiu-jitsu school where your livelihood is people touching each other and grappling.
How'd
Yeah,
you do
doesn't
it though?
work. Doesn't work good. You had to shut the school down.
Ugh, that
Yeah, eight
sucks.
eight months, eight
Oh my
months of
God.
almost losing my business. Yeah,
I
crazy.
bet that was not stressful at all.
Not at all. No, these grays weren't there before. I'll tell you that.
No, 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 you look rugged. You're fine.
Oh, there you go.
Fine
There you
now.
go.
That's in. That's in.
Yeah, so just this little pandemic thing, no big deal. So you had a little bit more time to
I
kind of
had a lot of
focus on it.
time, so my style developed a lot in 3 years, so I had to redraw parts of the book. But yeah, my first graphic novel was Refrigerator Girl in 2024. We published, I don't remember. But that was like my main thing. And then I just got like freelance work here and there, and I was building my audience online. So I got a big online following. I drew 1 billion Star Wars fan comics since Star Wars was
Holy
like
cow.
my comfort thing at the time.
Nice.
I drew somewhere near 200 pages of Star Wars fan comics just trying to be like, Lucasfilm, hire me. And that's not how
Are
it works
those
at all.
uh are those still out there in the ether? Are
Oh,
those
yeah. Oh, yeah.
nice? I'm a huge Star
Everything's
Wars
forever
fan.
online. So,
Yeah, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so I'm gonna have to go look those up for
oh,
sure.
yeah, please do. I'll send you a link afterwards.
Awesome.
Mostly
Awesome.
Mandalorian, because that was like my
I
thing.
love Mando. Looking
We
forward to the movie.
don't we all love him?
Yep,
But,
yep.
yeah, so my style developed, I got an audience, and then eventually I started getting more freelance work. And I eventually got contacted by DJ at VeeFriends to do freelance comics for them. So I illustrated issue 4 of VeeFriends, and then they just kept freelancing me until they hired me on full time. Then I got my book. So I just like slowly like built up my legs, even though like
Yeah.
in between all those several years was just several months of me being like, I can't get a job. Which
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
just it sucks, but like it's how it goes. If you're not like continuously making art, you can't like move up the ladder. And it's a slow and painful process.
Yeah. Yeah. Career in art is definitely something it takes a lot to maintain. And I
Mm-hmm.
think, like you said, you have to keep creating and try to get noticed. And you did. You are the proof of concept that it can be done. So it sounds like that social media presence that you built doing the Star Wars fan comics and those kind of things was really part of the impetus for that. Like you had the base following for when you did, you know, DJ's looking around for somebody. He probably saw
Yeah.
that, and
Yeah, we were already mutuals, so
there
he
you
knew
go.
about me and things like that. But just like I treated my social media kind of like my job when I didn't like have proper art jobs going on, so I was very consistent and posting maybe too much for a while, but that's what built my audience, and that's like the hardest thing to do. I feel like to
Yeah.
in today's art world, since like it's almost required to have a social media presence.
Yeah, it really is. And it's funny you say posting too much because Gary Vee would say you got to do like 200 video clips a week or whatever. It's
I
like,
don't listen to Gary's advice.
I'm telling you, I can't do it. I'm just like, I value sleep too much.
Yeah, I'm sorry we don't have a team to post our social content
I
for
gotta at
us.
least, get a little sleep, Gary, man. I can't be
Hmm.
making 200 clips.
Yeah, especially when your like thing is art. It's not just you recording in front of a camera, even though that's more of what I do now.
Yeah,
It's just it's hard to keep consistently posting art, but you got to find a way to like get over that hump or make it like a continuous thing for
yeah.
you.
Have you found with the prominence of some of the AI stuff that people are seeking out? Like I've noticed, and I don't know if you've noticed the same thing, but it seems like people are really gravitating towards like actually watching creators create. So like if you're posting process stuff or videos of you actually drawing, those seem to be gaining a lot of traction compared to before, just because I feel like people actually want to see the art being made
Yeah, that's
versus,
always what's way more interesting to people,
yeah,
especially in like comics, which like people see as like an enigma thing. Like a lot of
yeah,
folks I never realized didn't know that like it takes like a team of 5 people to make a single issue comic. Not always, but like
hmm,
that's the industry standard. And it's like, oh yeah, there's someone doing each step and you really have to think about it. And this is how lettering works. I bet you never thought about like the placement of lettering balloons and like the emphasis of things. Like it's as they say, the invisible art really is what
yeah,
comics are. So it's just people really like appreciating craftsmanship, I think,
hmm,
in any form. I think we've all fallen down the rabbit hole at 3 a.m. of like watching some man in like rural China building a hut out of mud. It's the same
guilty,
thing.
guilty as charged.
Exactly. Like, I don't know what they're
Yeah.
making at all, but I'm so fascinated to see the end result rather than just
Yes.
seeing the end result. Like, people always like
Yeah.
it more when I post my sketches alongside my finished piece because it's fun to see the skeleton of things
It
because we're all
is.
morbid.
Yeah, I've been geeking out over that recently. I'm a huge Ryan Otley fan. Ryan Otley from Invincible and Battle Beast. I've been a
Hmm.
fan of his since before he broke in. Back in the day of, you know, for online forums where artists hung out, I was hanging out and interacting with him, and he's been posting a lot of his process because he does a lot of his stuff digitally,
Hmm.
which a lot of us do nowadays, or at least use it as part of the process. And he was talking about somebody had commented something regarding AI or people tracing 3D models or something. And he's like, oh, yeah, well, just tell them to post their time lapse of Procreate, to show their process. And I
Yeah.
said, Hey, buddy, I got to chime in here because there's a feature in Procreate where they can hide the layer they're tracing from the time lapse so it
I
doesn't
didn't
show
know
up.
that was a thing.
You
One of
didn't know
my
either.
greatest fears ever as an artist is being accused of using AI, which I'll,
Yeah,
but just
no.
it's so scary for people to be like, no, I think you actually copyrighted this, or like I
Yeah,
accidentally stole something where I did an identical pose from a comic 40 years ago no one's ever heard of. Like, I'm
yeah.
so terrified.
Yeah, he didn't know that that feature existed. He uses Procreate a lot, and I only knew because there was somebody who was legitimately copying Adam Kubert and a bunch of other prominent, like legit, not even
Like, how are you
changing
gonna get
anything,
away with that? Come
and then
on.
trying to pass it off. Well, he was selling it on shirts, and people were buying it and saying
Brother,
he made it.
ew,
Yeah,
ew.
and he, yeah, and then a few people commented, "Hey, that's clearly this." Oh no, I here's the video of me drawing it, and I'm like, "Yeah, you can hide the layer, like it won't show up."
Mm.
He was just literally tracing, looking
I
like
mean,
he was doing this. It's like, come on,
you can tell. I mean, like on a similar point though, like you can usually tell when you can see when people are thinking about what they're making
this
when
is
they're
it.
drawing.
It was too perfect. It was
Yeah, it
like,
was too good. You're not
do.
this good, and I can
Yeah,
tell. There's a
yeah, and
few people that can do that.
no underdrawing, no. Yeah, you're straight in there. You're Kim Jong Gi. You're going straight into it.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure. A one in a
Yeah, it was
million,
interesting.
I'm sure.
All right, so we've covered inspirations. We covered kind of your first quote unquote big break. Now we're in the times where you're doing a lot of work for VeeFriends, and you also have Devil in the Herd that just came out. We touched on that. Tell me how that came to be.
It kind of came about when a few years ago, me and my husband, we were living in California after having moved from the Southwest. We live in the Southwest again now. And it
Right.
was a combination of me just kind of missing the Southwest because it's such a beautiful, beautiful place if you've
Yeah.
ever been. And also me just discovering like I really liked writing horror because I had just written my first like horror comic that I posted all online. And it's a little zine I have now. And I wanted to explore that more. And as a farm kid, I like representing that more. So
Well, there you go.
yeah, farm kid with religious trauma, or one in a million.
Oh, it's a
So,
few out there.
yeah, here she is.
There's Kitty.
There's Coco. So, I was really missing the Southwest. I really wanted to develop a Southwestern-ish color palette art style, and I really like the idea of actual Satan being an antagonist, kind of like in old
Right.
folklore stories. I feel like that doesn't
Yeah.
get enough love or attention. So it just kind of slowly manifested, which
That's so
was,
cool. And you're doing it in collaboration with Invader Comics.
yes, yes, they
So
are my
they're
publisher.
publishing it.
Yeah, they're
Nice.
doing all the work I didn't want to do. So, jeez,
Just the
don't rail
little
me.
logistical side of things with all the
Kinda.
struggles that go into publishing, huh?
I mean, like, everyone was like, well, why are you getting a publisher? I don't think you need it. And I'm like, what? I
Yeah.
don't want to distribute this myself. I don't want to run the Kickstarter. I don't want to figure out the strat. They can do that. I
Yeah.
don't care.
Now, you mentioned Kickstarter, so that's a whole other ball game. Have you ever done your own Kickstarter?
No, I'm
It's a
way too
lot.
scared to. Just
And
doing
I'm
it
not
on like
spe
the periphery of Invader,
yeah.
like I was doing promotion as well, but I didn't have to actually run the page. That was all
Hmm.
my editor, Mike, and it's just even just that was like an exhausting month.
Yeah. I haven't personally done it, but I've had plenty of friends do it, and they are always so stressed out throughout the whole thing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
man, this seems like not something that everybody can do on their own. It would be nice to have help if I
Yeah,
ever did something like
exact.
that.
No, my friend Armand, who has done several for his comic books, he was like messaging me like the whole time through it. And he was like, "Oh, so are you already checking the Kickstarter page every 10 minutes to see it?" And I'm like, "Yep, I can't sleep. That's
Yeah.
all I do anymore
Yeah.
is check the Kickstarter page." Even though we got fully like we reached our first goal in like the first hour we were fully funded, which was awesome and
Nice.
really cool, but I'm just sitting there like, "Well, how far does it go? How much more do we
Yeah.
have? What if I make another video? How much more will like you kind of start dissecting it and it's a lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot and you
Has to
hope
be.
what you make delivers.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
And I'm assuming that you had most of it done at the point that the
Yeah,
Kickstarter was started up, right?
I had it fully complete. Like there was some minor editing things I think I handled this week and it's been sent to the printer as of like 3 days ago, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I can tell like a professionally run Kickstarter, because usually the book is done, it's ready to, or
Mhm.
close to being ready for when the Kickstarter's done, it's actually going to fulfill and ship out and,
Yeah.
not be like the ones I backed 3 years ago that I'm still waiting on.
See, like, I could never run a Kickstarter without a nearly complete product. Like, I need to at least be like 2/3 done. That's a thing my teacher said in college. It's like, don't ask for funding unless the project's almost done or just
Yeah.
all the way done. That's what a lot of people say with sending out pitches, too. It's like, yeah, they don't, you'll get more luck if you just have a completed piece to show people in
Yeah.
general.
Now, so it sounds like you've been doing like a lot of creator owned kind of independent type of stuff, aside from the stuff for VeeFriends. Do you have any aspirations of working for the big two, or pitching something to Image, like your own creator owned thing? Like, what do you
I
got?
don't
Because every creative person I have on here has something in the back of their brain that they're kind of holding off for the future.
See, I'm weird in that aspect of artists where it's like I don't have a big universe I want to tell a bunch of stories of like
Makes sense
all
though, because you said you need to be told what to
I need to be
do and
told. See, yeah, here's the thing. I have several friends who have their own big comic book stories that they want to tell, and I love them and I draw for them all
right.
the time. And I'm just sitting here like, "So, do you want to like write the issues? Like we can get this going." And I
Yeah.
like drawing other people's dreams because I don't like just crafting a world and like a story and like very in-depth characters sounds so tedious to me. But my
Yeah.
friend who's like a really good Dungeons and Dragons DM for fun is really good at that shit and it's really
Right.
fun to see him craft a story and I'll just draw it because it's fun to see people be excited about your drawing. So this is just really me searching for dopamine and validation from everyone else.
Well, that makes me feel good that I'm not the only quote unquote weird or different one in that regard, because I'm the same way. Everybody's like, "Oh, don't you want to write your own thing?" Or like, I can write and I've had some ideas, but like what excites me is bringing other people's ideas into existence and helping them see that come to fruition. That's kind of the fulfilling part for me. Like, I feel like I need more direction and
Exact, yeah.
somebody, so I like doing character designs and things, but as far as developing a whole backstory and world and all of
It's a
that, like,
lot. Like,
it's
there's
a
a
lot for
reason my
me.
new comic is only 32 pages. Like, I can't write a story that's much longer than that. I'd
Yeah,
rather be invited to the sandbox to play with your toys.
there you go.
Like, I have stories I would think are fun to tell for like other characters. Like, I'd love to write and draw a Hellboy story. That's like the
Oh
ultimate
yeah,
goal, or Wolverine or Daredevil. That's like not always writing for them, but just creating them, just drawing them would be really fun to me. But I don't have a big mythos just waiting to be
yeah,
told. That's everyone else's job.
yeah. I'm guessing I know the answer because you mentioned him a few times. You mentioned Wolverine. Is Wolverine your
Yes.
favorite Marvel character?
Yes. I say he's my favorite superhero, but he's not my favorite X-Man, if that makes
Okay,
sense.
okay. Yeah, for Marvel, for me, it's always Wolverine and Hulk.
Good
Wolverine
choice.
and Hulk are the ones that I gravitate towards. DC's kind of the obvious one for me. It's always kind of been Batman, you
Yeah,
know, all of the different
same.
iterations of Batman, especially Absolute Batman.
He's
That's
been
been pretty dang
fun. I
cool.
really like him. I just picked up a bunch of Absolute Wonder Womans and I'm finally reading it, so I'm
I
excited to get
really
into that.
enjoyed I really enjoyed that. I thought that was really good. I read the first several issues and I really dug that. I thought it was like right up there with Absolute Batman.
Okay, sweet. That's what
Yeah.
I've been hearing as well. So I like that they're really doing something different with the like known characters, like they're really changing them, but they're still familiar. That seems like a
Yeah.
challenge to do that DC has tried to do many times.
hmm
So,
Yeah, and they seem to have pulled it off this time. Like I tried to get into the Absolute Superman and it didn't click for me. Somebody told me you got to get past like 5 or 6 issues and I'm like
those are the
I
ones that
tried
are
the
supposed to sell you on it, though.
That's what I said. I try if you didn't catch me with the first couple, I'm out. Like
Uh,
I can't keep buying it, to
yeah,
just
it's
for the
so
hope that
funny. I've like heard
yeah,
nothing about Absolute Superman and like everything
yeah,
about Absolute, like almost everyone else, but
yeah.
nothing on him.
Are you caught up on Absolute Batman or are you working your way
No,
through
I
it?
like vaguely know what's happening, but like not as of the last like 3 or 4 months,
Oh,
because
okay.
I'm being
It's
so
really
bad about getting
cool.
to the store.
It's really cool when him and Absolute Wonder Woman meet.
I've seen a few of the screenshots. It
And she's
looks.
like taller than him.
Oh yeah, that's the perfect
Yeah.
couple to me,
And
even though they're not a couple.
he's supposed to be like 6'9" or whatever, so it's
Hmm.
like it's pretty awesome.
Oh, she's the
Yeah,
perfect woman then.
she's great. Yeah, it's such a great concept. Like they
Mm,
changed it just enough to make it unique. Same with him. It's really cool to see them kind of taking a big swing like that and having it pay off because it's bringing a lot of new people into comics.
it is. It really is, and that's
Yeah.
so encouraging to see.
It is. I've got to wonder what Marvel is doing as their answer because they already
I
had the Ultimates is kind of already was like their version, prior to
Yeah,
Absolute.
and they were
Uh,
like okay.
I
They
don't
were
feel
like
like they took big enough risks with them.
I mean, it just was like another like alternate universe story, and it
Yeah,
didn't
it's
feel
Peter
like,
Parker, but he's younger and
I
you know,
know, I
or he's
know.
older or it's like with Absolute Batman, I feel like they kind of flipped it on its head enough that it
Yeah.
was a big
Well,
enough swing. And then the art with Dragata coming in and
yeah, it's so badass.
yeah,
It's a fun new style. They kind of changed everything about like Bruce Wayne as a character while not changing who he is morally,
yes,
which like I mean that's the answer. That's all you got to do. It's like, well, we switched up like the whole origin, but they're still like they still have the same soul
yeah.
basically.
Did you
So
hear that
just
Scott Snyder didn't want to write it?
really.
He was pitching it. So when he came up with the whole absolute thing and the all in thing, and they were like pitching it around the concept to people, he basically was like just using Batman as an example of what you could do in this world. And he'd like give his pitch about that. But he wanted somebody else to write it. I think he reached out to like Tom King or somebody like that, or might have been James Tinian. But he reached out to somebody and they turned it down. And then he was talking to one of them and they called him and said, "Hey, I know exactly who you need to write Absolute Batman." And he's like, "Oh, great. This is taking pressure off of me." And they're like, "You, because you've been going around pitching this, like, you need to do it."
Sorry, bud, it's gotta be
Yeah. Yeah.
soul crushing and exciting, I would think that would be.
He had like a trepidation about it though.
Mm,
Despite writing Batman a lot, like he was worried about getting it right. So it's always interesting to me to see like somebody I would consider like an elite level comic
mm.
writer still having those normal feelings that you or I would have about something like that, the gravity of it.
Yeah, I think a thing that like brought home that kind of feeling for me, like, oh, even though they're professional and successful to me, they're still just as nervous and like self-doubty as I am too. Is actually, not to bring him up again, I saw Mike Mignola do a Q&A at my local library, and like every question he got is like, look, I'm not good at drawing, I just draw what I can, and that's what you're gonna get. But if we hired someone else to draw, they did way better than me, and they put Hellboy in a
Right.
car, and like he's just sitting there like pushing back on everything.
Very
And it's like,
self-deprecating.
exactly, because that's what we all are. It's like, I didn't make anything that big, and it'll be like Scott Snyder writing Batman. But I
Yep.
think like another big thing with that for characters like Batman or Spider-Man or Superman, it's very intimidating to write them because you want to get them right. Like, I've
Yeah.
heard horror stories about how no one will write Spider-Man anymore because like no fans like any Spider-Man writer.
Yes.
And so it's the same story with Star Wars stuff as well, I'm sure. So it's
Star
just like,
Wars, X-Men, any of the big flagship properties like that.
exactly.
Yeah, it
So
has to be
it's,
tough.
I would be terrified to write Batman or Spider-Man. Not
Oh
that like
yeah.
I would ever have the credentials to be hired for it, but like, no. I'm in the comic world. I know what comic book fans are like.
Yeah.
I'm one of
Yeah, it
them.
can exactly. We're not always the kindest when it comes to the things that we hold near and dear to our hearts.
Yeah. Yeah. And some people do
So,
get it totally wrong, so don't forget.
yes, this is true.
I
And
won't say any
their
names, but
their
they know
feet must
who.
be held to the fire
One day. Don't worry.
one day. So you mentioned a farm, growing up on a farm sensibilities and things. Were you
Yes.
around horses and that kind of stuff? Did you guys have a lot of animals
We
and
we had cows. We had like
okay.
2 horses that never got ridden, but it was mostly Black Angus cattle. When I was really
Oh, okay.
little, they had a dairy farm. My mom only ever dairy farmed like her whole life. She was dairy princess of the county. My grandparents and a bunch of my uncles were all dairy farmers, and then like the dairy farming industry has kind of declined since then.
Mm-hmm.
They got rid of the dairy farm when I was 6. Mom started up Black Angus farming with my stepdad when I was 12 or 13. But like that whole time I lived in a farming community, and like it's a very specific community where like it's the same concept as like It Takes a Village or like
Mm-hmm.
Raising a Barn. Like everybody helps everybody out. So through pretty much all of my childhood, I was always helping on farms, even if we weren't directly living on one. I helped plow fields, I tossed hay, I
It's
did hay
awesome.
stacking,
Yep.
I ran for bulls, so we had Black Angus until I graduated. They don't have the farm anymore. I wouldn't recommend
Okay.
it, but it gives you good work ethic.
Well, and going back to reference, you have personal reference that you were able to
I
draw
yeah,
on for your book.
I got an inspiration for like how I draw the cows in there or like how they behave from me and my husband went on a hike in like that like a part of it went through a cow pasture. And cows are very docile animals. You don't ever have to
Yes.
worry when you're around them unless you're around a bull. And
Yep.
he'd never been around cows before, so he noticed like they would all stop and stare at you as you walked by,
Hmm.
and some of them would follow you sometimes. He's like, cows are acting really creepy. And I'm like, oh, that's just how they are. Then I thought about it more. It's like, they could be creepy. Why don't I just
Yeah,
make
put
them
that
creepy?
away in the mental
See, yeah,
database. I
exactly.
love it. So, what do you
Farm.
have in the works currently that you're able to talk about that people should be on the lookout for?
One of our stretch goals for Devil in the Herd, our farthest stretch goal actually, which we reached, which is cool,
Nice.
um, was they would automatically green light another story in the Devil in the Herd universe.
Oh,
So
nice.
I will have more Old West Devil stories coming out soon, or at least one.
Very cool.
And that's like the best you can get from like a fully built world of me. This one won't be like a sequel or a prequel or anything like that to this current story. It'll just be same antagonist, fully different protagonist and story in
Okay.
place. So
So
the
people
only connecting
definitely,
factor is Satan. I
okay.
guess.
So people can be on the lookout for that. And then as far
Yes.
as what you're doing for VeeFriends, do you have a regular project with them, or is it just kind of whatever they send your way?
It's a little bit whatever they send their way. They're kind of, if you see like how they publish things and stuff, we do a lot and we do
Yeah.
various other characters. So it's like whatever character they decide to do a story for, that's kind of what I get. But we're kind of like figuring out a flow lately now. I can't tell you what my flow is. I can tell you that comic book 15, my fourth or fifth comic with VeeFriends just got announced this week. So this one's
Awesome.
about Driven Dragon. Her name is Ren. I got to write and illustrate it. So if
Very
you like
cool.
dragon racing and fantasy and whimsy, check that one out.
Perfect. And one last thing I wanted to ask you before we start to wrap things up is when you were in college for comic art, was this during a time when digital tools were starting to be introduced into the workflow, or is that something that came later? And to piggyback on that, how do you prefer to work these days? Do you have a hybrid workflow, or are you all digital, all traditional? So that's kind of my things that I've been meaning to ask you that I wanted to go back to
Oh, I'm
that I
glad
didn't
you
want to
remembered them.
I didn't want to forget before we wrapped up today.
So today I am all digital, which is why my style changed so much after college. I got an iPad and I got Procreate, and I was like, oh, this is
Yeah.
way easier to draw on because I'm very messy as an artist. And to get very good, clean, traditional work, you have to be very disciplined, which I am not. But in college, I worked entirely traditionally. Most of me and my classmates did, and that's what they taught a lot of. And we would hand in like a page a week for a class, and we'd sometimes have to have like 5 pages done a week, depending on your class workload.
Yeah.
The teachers never really stopped you from working digitally. In fact, that was in an assignment we had one time where almost the entire class was working traditional, and one week we had to have an entirely digitally made comic. And I just did so bad at it at the time, mostly because I
Did
didn't like know how to color,
did
and
they
I was
have
really
like
bad.
did they
They had
have like Wacom
Cintiqs.
tablets or
Yeah,
Cintiqs? Okay.
yeah, you could check out, they had like a media place where you could check out almost any equipment you wanted. You could get like a $5 billion camera there, and they'd just be like, here you go,
Nice.
20-year-old, have fun with
That's
this.
That's what I used to do. I used to run a multimedia lab at a community college and check out the equipment to the students.
Yeah, yeah. So they had two nice Cintiqs in the comic artist area of the school, and you could check out Wacom tablets. And I was just like very not confident in like illustrating
Yeah.
digitally. I could do graphic design very well, but like that's where my like digital work started and ended at that point. But like no teachers would really stop you from working digitally. Like in fact, like Procreate wasn't a thing really yet,
No.
and I would assume going back to MCAD, I would see almost only iPads for
Hmm.
drawing comic art. They would just expect you to print it out so people could
Yeah.
like pass it around and critique it. So
Right.
it'd be interesting to see it today because I have no idea with like the
Yeah.
evolution
Different.
of Procreate and the accessibility of digital art, really.
Yeah. Hugely accessible, and the disconnect is no longer there. Because, like with
Yes.
Wacoms and even with the old school Cintiqs, you always had that little cursor offset. It didn't just
Yeah,
quite
you had to
feel
learn how
right.
to illustrate with lag, basically,
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
just
and now
sucked.
it's, the especially drawing on the iPad, it's so intuitive.
It is.
Um, do you feel there's a benefit to having that traditional skill set going into working digitally, or do you think somebody could just like the tool doesn't matter just as long as your fundamentals are there, like drawing's drawing, whether you're starting digitally or traditionally? Like, as I hear people go both ways. They like think, oh, you need to know how to do everything traditionally first. But at the same time, it's like, to me, it's just a different tool, a different interface. Like instead of paper, it's a screen. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think you don't have to know how to do everything traditionally first, but I think it's a really good like first stepping stone because like the big thing with digital is not every choice is permanent. You can
Yeah.
undo anything, you can erase anything, and
That's the
it's
biggest
totally
downfall
fine.
that I
That's
see.
the biggest downfall. And I find myself when I go back traditionally, after like drawing digitally for a long time, I'll like tap the paper, I'll try to zoom
Me
in, and it's
too.
like, oh my God.
I want to hit my control Z. I want to
Exactly,
undo,
exactly.
undo. Yeah.
So I think starting traditionally is really good in the sense that like it'll help you really make decisions and just kind
Yeah,
of like build a better, I guess, mind muscle connection with your hand rather than just being like, oh, well, nothing's permanent.
exactly.
Essentially, like every kid starts with a pencil and paper. Don't
Yeah.
make a kid start with an iPad.
I'm right there with you. I agree 100% on that. And I've had an absolutely wonderful time with you here today. I've learned so much, and I would love to have you back on in the future when you get some more of these projects rolling out, and anything you'd like to announce on here, we'll have to have you back on.
Perfect. Hopefully, it'll be a Hellboy comic, is my goal.
Let's speak it into existence right
There you
here.
go. Manifest.
Mignola, Mignola, Hellboy,
There we go.
Hellboy, Hellboy. Kate, I've had a wonderful time. I want to give you a chance here to let everybody know the best places to follow you on social media to keep track of what you're doing and where they can support the Kickstarter and all that awesome stuff.
You can find me on nearly every social media under the name Kate Comics, but comics is spelled with a K, so two Ks. I'm most active on Instagram and TikTok. Our Kickstarter has ended for Devil in the Herd, but we are still accepting late pledges. If you don't want to do that, I would really, really love it if you told your local comic book shops to order it from the Lunar catalog. And keep an eye out on all of my things coming out at VeeFriends.
Awesome. All right. Well, hang out with me for a moment while I give everybody my spiel. Everybody, thanks so much for tuning in today. I love bringing you a variety of awesome creators like Kate. We've got people on here that draw comics. We've got animation people, people from the film industry. If you're enjoying these, please hit the like. You don't have to subscribe if you don't want to, but sharing it around helps it get seen by more people, and that's my goal. If you want to give an extra level of support, you can head on over to patreon.com/Nerdy Mewzings. There is a free option where I give away a bunch of bonus things, and sometimes I even release the audio of an episode up to 24 hours or more early. So head over there, get that free membership. And in the meantime, everybody, keep it nerdy.